from the administration? Do we expect more or continued fuel subsidy? At gayon din po sa mga pasahero, what can they expect? Patuloy pa rin po ba yung libreng sakay? At i-expand po ba ito? Thank you.
Okay, good. I'm glad you asked. We just discussed that we are going to try not only to continue the fuel subsidies for the transport sector, but to expand it to include the tricycles, which up to now have not been included. And so we talked about in the cabinet meeting, we talked about the funding, where it can go, and how we are going to manage the funding for the additional fuel subsidies. We have enough budget, I think, to last for most of this, not for this year and a little bit beyond. But we still have to find that. We have to find that money if we're going to continue. The Libreng Sakay continues as is. That continues. But what we are going to do is we are going to do a program for the students, because if they come in, we will fully subsidize first their pamasahe. We'll phase it out because we cannot afford to keep that going. But students will ride for free on LRT2, which is going to the university belt. So yes, so that's what we are. We extended the fuel subsidy, and we moved the subsidy or the subsidy for riders to the LRT to assist our students who are coming back in September.
Next to meet you from CNN.
Yes.
So I understand that your desire is to lower prices of food, right? So are you inclined to approve additional import volumes for rice, chicken, sugar to bring down prices? And if you have any indicative volume that you're looking at?
Importation has been used as a price stabilization measure. I don't think that is the primary reason for the importation that we'll do now. As a matter of fact, we are going to try. No, I think we will do it in the Department of Agriculture to boost production of rice and corn in the coming 2 quarters, hanggang Pasko, until after Christmas. Again, because there are several reasons for that. The reasons because we would prefer not to import. We would prefer to import as little as possible. So we should increase our own production of rice and corn. Corn especially became very important because the feed wheat that we were importing, na-cut off ang supply natin. So we have to substitute it with corn. This season, the corn growers were able to come together and provide sufficient feed for the broiler production. But we still have to increase production of corn to ensure that supply, because there's corn for food and there's corn for feed. So if we are able to increase production sufficiently, then hopefully the importations. We really do not. It's not really an import substitution measure. It is a strategic food supply measure. But of course, if it's an nagkaka-import substitution, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So that's the plan. That is why I made agriculture the highest priority of everything that we are doing. Because you cannot build a strong economy unless you have a foundation of a robust agricultural sector, which assures food supply even in emergencies.
Ms. Maricel Halili. Sir,
Good afternoon.
may we know kung ano po yung most important marching order ninyo to all the cabinet secretaries following the first cabinet meeting earlier?
Oh, you cannot. I don't think we can say one. Kasi we've been talking anyway for 2 months. Matagal na namin pinag-usapan yung mga general concepts and general principles. So each department got very different instructions. The only thing that it looks like is how that we have to realize how interconnected all the government is. So there isn't one single one. I suppose if there's one single one, is let's get our bureaucracy streamlined. I gave them. I said I will not. I give you a relatively free hand in deciding who you want to hire and how you want to change the structure of your department. If indeed that's what you want to do. The first thing that is an example of that was in Daisara's announcement that we have a plan for full face-to-face by November of this year. September, we will start a phased face-to-face schooling. And that face-to-face will end up in early November as already 100% attendance ng mga bata. Kasama dyan, we have to talk about also vaccination, etc., because there are going to be some issues that will be raised. So, as usual, I guess if I'm going to single out one instruction, that quickly, let's get this done quickly. As usual, we're nagmamadali. Of course, we're careful, but we're always in a hurry because we have to get much done in very little time.